Hi, welcome to Ethereal Mechanics, chat number 8. In this video, we're going to discuss where we are and how we got there. I realize that some people may feel that we're jumping around a lot in all the videos out there and that we haven't looked like we're going down it. It looks like we're going off on all different tangents. I'm going to show you there's a logical reason for why we are where we are. Also, later in this video, we're going to discuss the topic for the Bridge Officer chat meeting later on today. That meeting will be held at the etherealmechanics.org in the mchat area. So what's been happening is about a year ago, Q algebra came about, and I was trying to merge, or let me rephrase it, trying to express new electromagnetism in terms of Q algebra. In doing so, it came up with some possible missing magnetic terms. And at the same time, it dawned on me that magnetism, or the terms for new magnetism, were inferred from classical theory. There really wasn't any real experiments done to verify that those terms are what they should be. So I realized I need to go back and look at magnetism again. And the logical thing to do would do a railgun experiment. Because a railgun not only would be fun and bring a lot of people in, it would be a way of testing with very high power if there was anything missing in the magnetic field expressions. And in doing that, I had to develop a magnet table in order to measure magnets. And in so doing that, I started thinking about what is the power or the energy of a magnet. And that's discussing exploring energy that way. That's how I came across the realization of the circular definition in the definition of energy. And that led to the new energy paradigm. And then there was a couple of videos released of the new energy paradigm. And then along the way, using a lot of rule of acquisition 17, which is the ambiguity tell, I realized that there's an ambiguity in Q algebra. And so this then this fed back, and now we have a new version of Q algebra, which I'm calling vortex algebra. And I have the domain name vortexalgebra.com reserved already. And this is what I'll be working on later today and this month. But let's go back to the new energy paradigm. So as we got through a couple of videos of the new energy paradigm, and toward the end, it became clear, or it became suspect, I guess is the word, that magnetism and momentum are one and the same thing. Just like induction and inertia are one and the same thing. But then I'm still blocked because I don't have a clear understanding of all the magnetic terms now. So I need to go back and study. So I went back to the railgun and started doing the physics software to model the railgun, but then I wasn't getting enough back EMF, and I'm sure some of you guys remember the video there. So I'm blocked on there. I have to study magnetism. So I went back to the magnetic experiments that were kicked off new electromagnetism. Let's go to the next page to look at those. And so we have the paradox 1 and the paradox 2. Now, the reason why I'm rebuilding these is because every time I go back and recreate the experiments of the days of yore, I always learn something I didn't know the first time I ran it. So we're redoing these experiments, and you guys have probably seen the experiment videos that are out. And there's going to be a couple more videos released today. And we're going to put them in the free world right now until we have the Bridge Officer chat to decide which ones we want to keep for patrons only, which ones we're going to make available and such. Now, the paradox 1 is based on a thing called Faraday's final riddle. It's a test of new electromagnetism, term 4. It actually disproves relativity simply because we actually generate power from things that are not moving relative to each other. So, but we're going to do, we didn't do before, is we're going to make precise measurements, just like we did for a roll up into the railgun, to make sure there's nothing missing or extra. That's the importance of quantifying things, because if your models and your experiment agree to a high degree of precision, you know there's nothing extra or nothing missing. And we're using the same build for both the paradox 1 and the paradox 2. The paradox 2 is a test of new electromagnetism, term 2. It actually disproves a classical flux model of magnetism. And again, we're going to make precise measurements to make sure nothing is missing or extra. And also the one I want to go into is the ball bearing motor. That's a new phenomenon I haven't seen until recently. We need to understand this to see if there's anything it can tell us about magnetism that we don't already know. Okay, so this weekend, I'm going to produce the recent videos on the experiments that I took over last weekend. And I'm going to be doing a lot of work on the new math construct, which is vortex algebra. And I'm also going to be producing a video for Arduino work for in other words, I'm getting into a little more Arduino work to support the experiments. I'll be producing a video on that. So the topics for the Bridge Officer chat tonight are as follows. We need to get into discussing the hosting for upcoming chats. I don't like using the MChat. I don't like having to type. I want to be able to talk to people. From the last meeting, they all discussed looking at the thing called Discord. And I looked at it, but I found it to be more of a gamer's chat. And I kind of want something where we can put up a thing, a video that we can all look at, like put up a spreadsheet or a presentation we can look at and discuss it as a group. And I had the opportunity to use GoToMeeting this week because at work we had a vendor that used it and they hosted it, and it worked quite well. I was quite impressed. And in that, I also looked for other ones. There's another one called Zoom, which is a little cheaper, but we'll see how this goes. I don't mind paying this if this works well. Then we may look at that, and we'll have a discussion of that at the Bridge Officers Chat this afternoon. The number one topic we're going to be discussing is which videos to make Patreon or public. Okay, because we still need to draw patrons so that we can get funding to make this a full-time venture. Right now, my number one patron is my job, and I'd like to get rid of that patron so that I can do this full-time and really make significant progress because I got very little time left over after work. Okay, but again, I don't want to alienate patrons, their sense of exclusivity. You know, what should, and so in the next pages, I've come up with what I think is a fair thing, but I want your input to make sure it is fair. And so let's look at the following. We're going to go by topic over the video. Okay, for example, for the puzzles, I'll still make those public. We got two ones in the pipeline. Where in the world are you? And the two ropes puzzle. The Distinti's world, I got D17 is the utopia fallacy. And make those public. Rules of acquisition, I think we're going to make those. Here's how we're going to break it down over here. We're going to make the rules of acquisition videos public. And then we're going to have first class is going to be released the paper on the roll-up of all the rules of acquisition available to first class and above patrons. And the bridge officers will have the pre-release review of the paper. Then another set of video soon to be released is the Arduino archives. And the first video will be a solution to the C++ include nightmare. Okay, we're going to make those videos public. Okay, I mean, granted, in other words, all this we're going to discuss, and we'll choose which way we want to go on these. And the access to the Arduino sketches and the libraries will be made available to Patreon engineers and above. A Vortex algebra, which is the follow-on to Q algebra. I'm going to try to publish a paper in a journal. Okay, and we're going to publish on the public, in other words, on the YouTube, a short teaser videos. The passengers will have access to theory videos. Oh, that's what that means. And the PDF paper, after it's been attempted to be published, I'm sure they're going to throw it out. Or they're not going to publish it. Will be made available to first class and above. And there's going to be software supporting it because obviously you want to be able to play with the vectors in software to be able to do things, and that'll be available to Patreon engineers and above. And the paper, before it's attempted to be published in a journal, will be available for review to bridge staff. Okay, any new Ethereal Mechanics videos, I think that for the public we'll have short teasers, and those teasers will show little demonstrations and animations and stuff, but not get into full theory. Passengers will have the full theory and experiment and animation videos. First class, any papers or books that are released in PDF format, they'll have access. Engineer, any software, circuit schematics, spreadsheets, yada, yada, yada. And bridge officers, I'm going to look to you for guidance. And again, tonight, if there's anything bridge officers want that can be released, you know, I want everybody to feel like what they're paying for in their patronage, they feel like they're getting their money's worth. What I'm looking for. A new energy paradigm, only public releases will be short teasers. We do have another class of patron, which are anything $9 and less. They're supporters. They have only access to the first new energy paradigm video that's in the Patreon place. Okay, again, and this is going to be the same rollout for, I think, everything else. As the passengers are going to have the theory and demonstration videos, first class, any release papers, engineer software schematics, spreadsheets, etc., and bridge review and the first look at papers. And they're also the guidance I expect from the bridge staff as well. And again, it's the same thing for the railgun and the paradox experiment stuff. Again, if the bridge officers want to change any of this because they feel it's not fair or whatever, let's have it. Let's talk it and discuss it. I want to do what's ever fair because I appreciate my patrons. Okay, and also about chat videos like this. I think I'm going to make this video available to everyone because I'm not really giving out any, detailed information about anything. This is just more of a progress of where we are and what's going on behind the scenes. I'm not really releasing anything of the novel stuff that we're working on. So I think these chat videos should remain in the public. So in conclusion, let me iterate that this venture is not just a video blog. I wish Ethereal Mechanics and this stuff could be like other blogs that are out there, where people go look at other blogs and then they produce a video and add their own little 2 cents on it, and they've got thousands of followers. Okay, we have real logistical issues. We have to order parts. Okay, we need time to develop the ideas, to develop the experiments, to build the experiments, to produce the videos. Okay, and as you saw on the first pages, this is not a simple linear progression. There's going to be dead ends, reversals. We're going to go around in circles, back and forward. That's just the way a scientific development goes. You go down a path, it turns out, oh, gee, there's a block here. I got to go do this now. And it's like solving a maze, solving a puzzle. It's not a straight line thing. Okay. And my time is very limited because of my #1 patron, which is my job. Okay. And so of that little time I have, it's worth it for me to spend some time to bring in more patrons by doing stuff like teaser videos and publications, and maybe spending some money on advertising so that it will pay off, and then I can do this for full time. So anyway, everybody, I thank you for your patronage and your patience on this matter. We are making progress. There's lots going on. I'm actually overwhelmed with things to do. So thank you very much.